Some stories you think are long over just aren't. And that's exactly what's happening right now with one of rock music's most tragic and enduring mysteries. After nearly 32 years, a brand new forensic analysis is challenging everything we thought we knew about the death of Nirvana's Kurt Cobain. And it's kicking off a debate that has haunted a whole generation. And just listen to this quote from Michelle Wilkins, who co-authored the new report. It really cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? She's not just questioning a few details. She's suggesting the whole scene was a deliberate setup, a staged crime designed to fool everyone.
So how in the world did we get here? Well, let's just quickly look at the timeline. You have the original ruling way back in 1994. Then, in 2015, public interest kind of explodes again. And now, all these years later, in 2026, we get this major scientific challenge. It's that huge gap of time that makes this whole thing so remarkable.
And of course, at the center of it all is Kurt Cobain himself. As the frontman for Nirvana, he wasn't just some rock star. He was, for better or worse, the voice of Generation X. So when he died at only 27, at the absolute height of his fame, it wasn't just a news story. It was a culture-defining moment. Okay, so before we can really dig into these new claims, we have to go back and understand the official story, the version of events that has been accepted for over 3 decades. Let's break down that original ruling from 1994. The official case for suicide was really built on these 4 main pillars. First, toxicology reports found a massive amount of heroin in his system. Second, there was that single shotgun wound. Third, a note was found at the scene. And finally, all the other physical evidence seemed to line up, leading the medical examiner to a very quick and, at the time, very clear conclusion: suicide. And for more than 30 years, that was it. Case closed. Sure, there were fan theories and questions, but officially, the book was shut. This was the bedrock of fact that this new analysis is now trying to completely shatter. And here is where the story just takes a wild turn. A private forensic team has published a new analysis that doesn't just poke holes in the official story. It suggests a totally different and much darker version of events. And here's the key. It's peer-reviewed. That means other independent scientists check their work, which gives it a whole new level of credibility. This slide just lays it out so clearly, doesn't it? On one side, you have the official story we've known for decades, a tragic, immediate death from a shotgun. But on the other side, you have this new explosive claim that Cobain actually died slowly from a heroin overdose before the gun was ever involved, and that the gunshot was just part of a staged scene created by someone else. Now, to get what these researchers are arguing, we have to understand this one key scientific term: organ necrosis. Don't worry, it's pretty straightforward. It's basically just the death of tissue, which happens when it's starved of oxygen. The whole debate really comes down to when and why this happened. So the researchers, Brian Burnett and Michelle Wilkins, they basically built their case piece by piece. They claim the original autopsy showed damage to organs that you'd only see if someone was dying slowly from a lack of oxygen, like in a prolonged overdose, not instantly from a gunshot. Then they connected that to other weird things, like what they call inconsistencies in the blood spatter and the way the weapon was found. All these little threads led them to one shocking conclusion: the scene was staged. So you have this new, credible scientific paper that is essentially alleging murder and a cover-up. How do you think the original investigators responded to that? Well, let's just say they're not convinced. They're standing firm. The official response has been, a brick wall. Both the Seattle Police and the Medical Examiner's Office have come out and said that there is, and this is a direct quote, no credible evidence would justify reopening a case that's been closed for 32 years. And their reasoning is basically this. They argue that the autopsy back in '94 was solid and done by the book. In their view, just because someone reinterprets old data decades later doesn't mean the original findings were wrong. So while they say they're always open to new info, this report just doesn't meet the incredibly high bar to overturn an official ruling. The cause of death, for them, is still suicide. So we have this incredible stalemate.
right? New forensic science clashing head-on with the official, decades-old conclusion. It really makes you step back and wonder, why does this story, after all this time, still have such a powerful grip on us?
I mean, just look at that number. 32 years. That's more than a generation. This hasn't just been a closed case file sitting in a drawer. It's been a living, breathing mystery in the public's mind. That alone tells you how deeply this whole thing is woven into our culture.
I think this full thing keeps going for 3 big reasons. First, you just can't overstate the historical impact. His death really felt like the end of an era. Second, this is a perfect example of how science itself changes. New technology, new ideas, they can make us look at the exact same evidence in a completely new light. And finally, there's just been this nonstop public fascination, kept alive by documentaries and online communities that never let the questions die.
So here's the bottom line. A question that for decades was mostly pushed into the conspiracy theory box is now being asked with the weight of a peer-reviewed scientific paper behind it. Was Kurt Cobain's death a tragic suicide? Or does this new analysis point to something far, far darker? For the first time in over 30 years, that question isn't just being asked by fans, but by scientists.